on stream for a little bit. Let me tweet something real quick. Alright, there's that. And that. And sound check. Sounds good. Alright. Have anybody here yet? No. Alright, so the only people that are going to actually see this part are folks watching later on YouTube, but that's fine. Hopefully we'll get a few more people here in a minute. I have a package that I haven't released in a while, which is this Ardalis.result package, and it's had some updates and there's some requests to get some new version of it. So last release was 5 months ago, so I got to figure out why it's not released since then and make sure that it does. So I have a bunch of these different packages, and they have different ways that I have set them up to publish to NuGet, and they're almost all in the GitHub Actions. But I haven't necessarily made the time to go through and fix every single one to use a common workflow. So the first thing I usually need to do is check how exactly am I publishing this thing. So in this case, we're just using the NuGet API key. We're trying to publish it to NuGet I guess every time, right? So this thing's going to run every time we push to main, and we're going to check things out, we're going to restore, we're going to build in release mode, and we're going to publish to NuGet, and what will happen is NuGet will fail this if the version is already there. And so what most likely I need to do in this case, if I want to publish this, is make sure that the version is not 3.1.1 in here in the project file. I probably need to update the project here to say whatever's in this new release. Yeah, so that'll be the difference. So the latest pull requests were that one, this one, a whole bunch of them. Add unauthorized is the main one. These are all 20-some days ago. That was the last time I streamed, I think. And then we jumped to March. So fluent validation, version, dependency, latest version. Alright, so Kwaku Emma, how's it going? Welcome. I think unauthorized is the main one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it down locally, create a new branch, and go from there. So I've got Visual Studio running already somewhere. Oh, here it is. And so I just need to find Ardalis result, and then move that window where you can see it. And no. Zip by marks. Alright. Let's put this up where y'all can see it. Okay, so this is the result package. Let me make sure I've got the latest on main. Already up to date. Cool. So we're going to do 3.1.1. I guess this would be 3.1.2. Can I do dots in this? But I can. Let's try that. 3.1.2. Thanks for the follow. 4 gathers. New branch based on, alright, create that. And really all I want to do, once I make sure the tests all still pass, is change the project file so it includes the release notes, and maybe update the readme file so it talks about this thing. So we're going to come over here, we're going to do a quick, is it result.cs that has unauthorized? I think it should be. So here's the new unauthorized. Probably I should give these things some XML comments to say when they ought to be used. Maybe I'll do that now too, because none of these have that. and then we'll go from there. Hey Tony, how's it going? Alright, so let's do that. So let's see. Clear value type, get. That's pretty obvious. Converts page result of t. Alright. A successful what? Operation? Okay. This is the same thing, but it also includes a success message, which I guess sets them success message property, right? Yeah. And then what's this? The value property? Right. Yes. XML comments are so exciting to watch, I'm sure. But fortunately, there's only a few of these. And, you know, sets the property to the provided value. Hey, just realized you started streaming later on Fridays. Yeah, I switched it up to 3 p.m. because it worked better with my schedule. And it seemed like the usual time I was doing it, which was 12 to 2 or 1 to 3, I forget which, had a lot of conflicts with other people. So, other people streaming. So this seems better. And then I didn't do anything for the last 2 weeks because I was on vacation. So, I'm back. Let's see, this is going to do, what should I say about this? Represents an error that occurred during the execution of the service. Error messages may be provided and will be exposed via the errors property. List of string error messages. Alright. Kwaku MS says, I wanted to use result, but I could not use it for a method that returned no object, but just the result. Yeah, we've had that issue where we've talked about, let's see, this should probably all say a result of t. Where we talked about having just a non-generic result that doesn't return anything. What other frameworks have done, like Mediator, that have the same problem, is that's a paged result, is to have a unit type, right? So let me segue to that for a second. So we have in here, this is still result, right? So if we look at our closed issues and we scan back a little ways, there's been a number of attempts, at least one that made it in as a pull request, to change this to only work for something that doesn't return anything. So, is there one here? Maybe the pull request never got made. I don't see it. Maybe it was a closed issue. So it was a closed issue. Let's see. Issues closed. Must have been a closed issue. I don't know what to search for though. GitHub's being slow again. Come on, GitHub. But anyway, the issue was that it was just very difficult to get that to work. And I don't remember off the top of my head what the problem was, which is why I'm trying to find this, because I think we stated what the problem was. Result value if provided cannot be null. That didn't have a big discussion. what we talked about whether or not it should be enforced not null, because some people wanted to do what you're doing. They wanted to be able to say, hey, I want to say this thing was successful, but it didn't return anything. So can I just pass a null? And so, come on, GitHub. We said we don't have a value on a result that is null. That should be represented by a non-typed result, which we don't have, or a not found, or some other non-success. And here with this work, so we need to allow null values, right? So basically, we looked into this and we said, let's have a non-typed result that's not a result of t, and just is for void methods, right? So you would replace your void method, instead of returning void, it would return just a result. And then you could see whether it was successful or not, etc. And my initial thought, which you can see in this first message, is that, well, if you're going to have a value, it doesn't really make sense to have a value that isn't really there, right? To have a null value. So we were going to have a result type that didn't have a value, and was just to be used for those void cases. But after looking into it, it was a problem, and I don't remember the details of why it was a problem. But we said, hey, let's just allow null. So you could certainly use null in there. Also, if you look at Mediator, Mediator has this unit type, and you can see in the thing right here, it says this represents a void type since system.void is not a valid return type in C#. And when Mediator works, the interfaces that it uses for its generics and such, it needs to return something, right? It needs to return a type of something. And so if you don't want to return anything, what you do when you're using Mediator is you return unit. So you create a, what is it, like an I request of unit, let's say. And so that is how they handle it. All right. Prasad, hello, how's it going? So that might be something that we would include and use for the same reason, and basically put in a comment like this to say, hey, this is what you would use if you want to replace void. So that would be something to think about. Let me just add that as an issue to consider. So assuming I don't have one already, after we wait for GitHub to wake up. GitHub's been having performance issues like the last couple of days, at least for me, where it does this thing where it hangs and eventually it responds. I don't know if that's related to their latest new feature where you can just hit dot and have an editor, or not, but something is causing GitHub to be slow. So I wanted to see issues, and it wouldn't even let me load issues. Waiting for GitHub. GitHub is unresponsive. Alright. In fact, all my GitHub tabs on all my Chrome instances are unresponsive. Let's wait. Let's keep waiting. It's going to be a long stream. I've already forgotten what I was going to do. Trying to add an issue about void return methods and unit. My low attention span is going to get the better of me here. Alright, is GitHub down for everybody or just me? Prasad has a question about smart enum. Alright. Let me tweet my frustration with GitHub real quick. Alright, here we go. So if it works here, maybe it's from your side. Okay, can we have it as a function parameter with a default value on smart enum? So can we have a smart enum, a function parameter with a default value? I don't know off the top of my head. I don't see necessarily why not. Function parameter with a default. Like you want to say, let me type this out. You want something like public void foo some foo enum foo equals foo enum dot 1. Something like that. He posted to the chat. Alright, so I'm overly multitasking now. Now we've got this, and opened 10 days ago I had to update my NuGet secret key, so that could be a problem. Support, there we go. So this is what you're looking for, Emma. So currently result for specific type, What do you think about Mediator's unit type? For reference, see Mediator unit type, comment. Alright, so there's an open issue for 65, labels. This would be an enhancement, I think. I'll leave it at that. Alright, we may come back to that. We're still trying to get a release done though, so let's pop off the stack a few. Yeah, Prasad, isn't that what I just did though? Isn't what you want is what I showed, right? Where some enum value equals a particular one. Are you saying that doesn't work? Because I haven't tried it, but I'm guessing it doesn't work for you if you're asking. Meanwhile, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more of these fun things to do, so let's knock those out. Invalid for validation errors. So represents validation errors that prevent the underlying service from completing. This is a list of validation errors encountered, and this returns the same thing the other ones all return. A result of whatever. Right? Yes, correct. Alright, so I'll have to code that and see what the problem is, Prasad. So as soon as I finish with the result, maybe we can crack open Smart Enum and take a look. Represents the situation where a service was unable to find a requested resource. Returns the same thing. Right. This represents a forbidden. What's the difference between forbidden and unauthorized? One is authentication and one is authorization. So unauthorized, these are the same, aren't they? What's the difference between these? I think unauthorized is trying to say that you're not authenticated, maybe? Or maybe these are synonymous. Maybe there's a reason why I didn't have this in there to begin with. Now I've already merged it, but I haven't published it, so I could still change it. Let's go back and look at this. So, got it closed, unauthorized, but happy cat, blah blah blah. I merged this. I said add this. Not a lot of discussion. Didn't reference any issue. Maybe I don't need this. Because, alright, you folks here on the chat, tell me, if you were trying to return a result from a service that you were running, and you check to see does the user have access to do this thing, just somewhere inside the guts of the service, right? Not just on the outside, but somewhere inside the service they're trying to do something they shouldn't. Like maybe they're trying to edit an article, and anyone should be able to get to the edit article method because they might be able to edit some articles but not others. But in this case, the article in question is not one of their articles, or they don't have the rights to it, or whatever. And so they are not allowed to do that. Would you expect a forbidden result to say, hey, you are forbidden from accessing this resource? Or would you expect an unauthorized result? Which one makes more sense? Just send me a chat that says forbidden or unauthorized or a different word for that case. Don't all rush in at once. Alright, nobody wants to play. Fine. Unauthorized and forbidden have different response codes. That's just what I was bringing up. So that is a good point. So Tony says unauthorized. Prasad notes they have different things. Emma says unauthorized, unauthorized. Alright, cool. But, as Prasad pointed out, what do they mean in HTTP exactly? So this one references the other one, so let's start with the other one. The request contained valid data. The server understood it, but the server is refusing to do something. This may be due to the user not having the permissions for a resource, or needing an account, or attempting a prohibited action. The code is also typically used to request provided authentication by answering an authenticate header field challenge, but the server did not accept that authentication. The request should not be repeated. Whereas unauthorized is similar, but specifically for use when authentication is required and has failed or not been provided. So this says, I don't know who you are. So this isn't really unauthorized so much as unauthenticated. The response must include a W-authenticate header field containing a challenge. See basic and digest 401 semantically means unauthorized. The user does not have valid authentication credentials for site resource. Some sites incorrectly use 401 when an IP is banned and it specifically has refused permission to access it. Okay. So I think this means you're not authenticated, basically, because it's saying you need to log in. You need to provide some credentials. Whereas this one says you gave me all the things, but you don't have permission to do this. And this is also used if the request provided authentication by answering authenticate challenge, but the server did not accept it. So you start with one of these, and this triggers a challenge, and if your challenge fails, then you get one of these. Okay, so now coming back, I guess it makes sense to have both as an option for people to use, but I have to document them. And so I'm going to document them by referencing this Wikipedia page. So I'm going to say this is forbidden, which means the request, let's see, the parameters to the call were correct, but forbidden, but the user does not have permission to perform some action with some action. See also that. See also HTTP 403 forbidden. Alright, returns result of T. This one returns result of T. But this one is slightly different. Unauthorized basically says I don't know who you are. So nothing required has failed or not yet been provided. Alright, so it is similar to forbidden, but should be used when the user is not when the user has not authenticated or has attempted to authenticate but failed. See also HTTP 401 unauthorized. How about that? And I apologize for complaining that people weren't responding. I often forget that there's a bit of a delay between me saying things and it actually getting through Twitch and getting to you, so I just have to be patient. Alright, so that's enough of that stuff. Now, I didn't really want to duplicate that. I'll save that. Alright, now let's go and update the release notes. So we're going to say 312, and we're going to say basically we added the unauthorized result and updated XML comments. That's good enough. And so now we're going to push this. JStuff. Yeah. Welcome. Yeah, the Twitch lag surely dev is a problem. I mean, it's always a little bit of an issue, but it varies. Okay, so here we are updating release notes, adding XML comments. Good enough. Commit. Push. And then create the pull request, which is down here. Shrink. And let's see, this will be publishing version 3.1.2. I can't type 2. Which was adding XML comments, adding unauthorized result. Create. Ardalis, any others also? Someone tried the new spa templates in .NET 6. I have not. But if anyone else has, feel free to share. How are these new later streams working out? They certainly seem to be helping your numbers. Well, occasionally I get a raid that I wouldn't have gotten, but I might have gotten a raid from someone else. So the time there, it's maybe that helps. I haven't really looked to see if my numbers are particularly better in terms of how many people are here. Like right now, there's not a huge number of folks. In my opinion, I have 27 viewers or something right now, I think. So that's not terrible. But it's not massive. That's according to this thing, right? So I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what that says. Anyway, it's working out for me because it fits in my schedule. So, and if I decide it's Friday afternoon and I just want to be done, I can just be done, and this is the last thing I'm doing. So there's that. All right, so we're going to squash and merge 3.1.2. It's going to go in the main, and this should publish a new repo. Spitaxi, thank you for the follow. Alright, so that's done. Now we go and watch this. Now this may blow up because there was an issue that said I need to update my NuGet credentials. So if that's the case, we will do that too. So let me just log into NuGet real quick while this is running. So I'm ready to do that when the time comes. So we'll do that off the screen where you guys can't see all my secret keys. Yeah, I mean 27 or 28 is not bad, for sure. I mean a lot of times when you stream, this is not ever going to get this type of numbers that, you know, a popular game streamer is going to get, or even, you know, some, you know, just chatting person. You know, a lot of those folks, the most popular ones, you know, they have thousands of viewers. So yeah, if I get a couple dozen people that want to watch me work on stuff, I see that as a win. And I'm working on this stuff anyway, right? So it's all open source. I may as well talk through the process while I'm doing it, so if folks want to see how the sausage is made, they can see it. Boxy Bear, how's it going? Alright, so I'm looking at, look at that failed. That was kind of expected. But the API key is invalid. Look, it's a 403. We were just talking about those. So when it tried to post to NuGet, it got this API key invalid thing. So here's what NuGet looks like if you are a package owner and you sign in. You can come down here and you can say, show me my API keys. And so these are my API keys. And it's telling me right here, hey, your keys for this, that, and the other, including that one, have expired. Right? There's a lot of them that have expired. So they basically, the maximum you can give them is a year of length. Ever noticed a repo that has more clones than visits? I don't know. I never really looked for that. Does mine? I have 21, and yeah, I don't know how many visits it has. Stars aren't the same, so yeah, I don't know. JStuff says, I have an issue with the new spa templates in .NET 6. My Windows username directory has an empty space. For example, the issue seems to be with ngserve command and package JSON. I have not run into that. If I were you, I would go and open up an issue on GitHub with the .NET people. And then if you're on Twitter, jump on Twitter and use the .net hashtag and point to your issue. And between those two things, you'll get plenty of people seeing it. All right, so what are we looking for? We're looking for a result, which is this one. So I need to regenerate this key. I think they're pretty good about not showing it, but I'll just throw it down here anyway. So we're going to regenerate my result key. Are you sure? Yes, because it's expired anyway. Now, theoretically, you're going to give me a way to copy it, aren't you? It was just like, okay, I regenerated it. Like, well, I'd like to see it now. Thank you. It's expired. Apparently, regenerating an expired key doesn't actually give you a new non-expired key. Let's try this again. Oh wait, that time it did something different. Ooh, okay. Oh, I see. I have two. Here's my problem. Nope, that's not the right window. Uh, this one. I put it in a separate tab. Alright, so I have an Ardalis result GitHub action key, and I have a Ardalis result star key for GitHub actions, and I probably don't need both of these. But now that I just regenerated them, I can copy them without anyone actually seeing it. So I'm going to just delete this one, because I don't need it. And then we'll use the result star, which should work for anything I need. We'll just copy that. And now I need to go into GitHub, which I think I have here. Go into GitHub, and under settings, we can go to secrets, and ever noticed a repo hidden deep in the stats? Nope, never looked at it. We can update that key, and this might show you the old key, but it's going to show you the new key, so I'm going to bring it down here. I'm going to paste in the new key. We're going to update the secret. We'll go back to our actions, bring this back up here, and this publish NuGet guy, we can now say rerun that job, and hopefully it'll work. Now if that works, what's going to happen is we will see this thing update and not be 5 months ago anymore. So we'll wait for that while I answer someone else's question. Alright, Emma says, in clean architecture, is it appropriate to create different projects or layers for the domain layer and the application layer? Yeah, oftentimes that's helpful. I don't start with that, and I don't put that in my clean architecture template because a lot of applications don't need it. And in my typical, the way I architect things, when I have an application layer, the application layer needs to have access to things that are related to the UI. Because one of the things that I'll do in my application layer is I might call several different domain services and get back some type of result that I then want to map to a DTO or some representation that the view wants. And so some view model or some API model or something like that, which generally is defined in the web project, if it's an ASP.NET or ASP.NET Core or MVC or whatever project. And so instead of having a separate project for the application layer, I usually put the application layer in the web project, is how I usually deal with that. All right, so since that worked, this should have an update, and it does. So it's still validating, but I can get to it. You guys won't see it until it says it's published. And I can take this, and I can go back here, and somebody had posted an issue saying, hey, this thing's not here, and I can tell him this was published today as version 3.1.2, 1.2. Why do I type not what I say? There you go. And we'll comment, and if they're quick, they're going to go hit that before it's actually there, but I'm hoping they're not that quick. This takes about a minute to validate, so it shouldn't be too bad. Alright. Easiest and least painful way to change a user folder name on Windows 10. That is not my area of expertise, JStuff. Sorry. Someone else here might know, though. If I were going to ask that, I would certainly ask that on SuperUser. Have you used that site? I don't know if you know it. It's kind of like a Stack Overflow type of site, but it's all about Windows and systems and operating systems and things like that. And if you said how to change user folder name Windows 10, you'd probably find some things that have to do with that. So I would suggest you go check this out and see what you can do. Alright, that's the best help I have for you. Alright, is this done yet? It is done. Alright, good. So then that means I can close this issue because it is done. And we can go look at any other issues that we have. Like all apps are stored in a folder not named after myself. Yeah, I mean, well, you can pick whatever user name you want when you first log in. Although there are some limits if you use Windows accounts or Microsoft accounts for your system, then you get wonky usernames. As opposed to if you create the Windows account yourself. It's kind of annoying, I agree. On one of my machines that I've got right now, that I had a PC shop build it for me, and they used my name to log in, but the actual user folder is user, because that's what they use for everybody, I guess. So I just have to remember that my Windows user folder in that is just /user. But it's not that hard to work around that. All right, so no, that's support for right. That's that update. That one I did. Done. Close. Okay. I want to get out of result here soon because I want to get to some other projects. Translate results doesn't give page info. Okay. Add support for void returns. I might do that with the unit thing. Add a new extension method on result instead of controller to map to an action result. That would be pretty easy. Update the README to show typical use cases. Documentation? That's crazy. What does this thing have now? Like here's... Oh, you know what? I don't ever actually show you how to do this. Yeah, you basically have to go look at the sample. So sure, let's go ahead and let's update this a little bit. So we'll go here, and there's our code, and what problem does this address? What happens if these aren't found? Blah, blah, blah. We can also use it with that, but how about some code right in here somewhere? Let's put in a header here that says fluent validation, like that, and so that'll be separate. What problem does this address? Blah, blah, blah. You could throw an exception. You could return a tuple. Alright, so there's that. Sample usage. There we go. So the sample folder includes some examples of how to use the project. Here are a couple. Alright, so what is the sample folder? Let's put this in a new window and go find the sample folder, and maybe in here link to that, and come down here and say the sample folder. We're going to link you right to that spot, and then we're going to go look at it. Okay, no other good questions to answer, so we'll do some C# code block here, and in the sample, in the weather forecast feature controller, we have something like this. And we can go in here and we can just drop that into README, and will it let me do a shift tab? Oh my gosh, it does. That's amazing. In a web page. Alright, I don't need XML comments for this bit on the home page though. So here are a couple. Result to action result attribute to a controller action or API. Actually, let's do it in the other order. I like to promote my API endpoints. To an API endpoint or controller action if you still use those things. And it will automatically translate the what is that? Return the result of t return type of the method to an action result of t appropriately. Can't spell appropriately based on the result type. Alright, so there's that. And if I'm going to push API endpoints, I need a link to that, which will be that. And put that there. Like that. Now the odd thing is that this isn't actually an API endpoint, but we'll just leave that alone for now. Alternately, we can go here and back up. There's the API endpoint. So maybe I should lead with that one. Well, it's okay. We'll just show it separately. What's the difference between the API endpoint and controller action? Are they not the same? Well, here's what we're talking about. This is an endpoint. And with an endpoint, you can say it has this request, it returns this response, and here's its dependencies, and then here's the endpoint. It just has a handle method. So you don't have a whole controller with umpteen different actions and blah 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 to deal with. So let's copy this bit of code for the other sample, and then this is going to say the to action result. Let's see. Alternately, you can use the to action result helper method within an endpoint to achieve the same thing. Like that. And then we're going to use that handy shift tab feature to get that over there. Alright, so this one is a controller. This one is an endpoint. You know it's an endpoint because it has a handle method, whereas this one has a whatever the heck I felt like naming it, action method. And you're talking about this line. Right. So yeah, if you haven't seen API endpoints, you should check it out because it gives you a lot cleaner code if you like having API endpoints that are following solid. Right. There's single responsibility. This is the whole thing, right? When you're building an API and you're working on one endpoint, you really only care about your one endpoint. You don't care about the other 500 lines of code that are in that controller. And so what this does is it says, I only have the dependencies I need for this one endpoint. I only have the request that's formatted exactly how I want it for this endpoint and the response that I need for that endpoint. And those two things are what trigger this signature. So this is the request right here, and this is the response right here. And so in here, now we can just say, whatever, and then this is the result part, the to action result bit. Which is going to translate the result that comes from weather service get forecast into this bit here. So that's the part that I didn't have in here before. The weather service stuff I don't have anywhere either. So in each of these cases we're calling weather service.get forecast, so let's document that. So what does the weather service.get forecast method look like? Well, it's typically not defined in the same project as the web project, so it doesn't know anything about action result or other MVC, etc. types. But since it is using a result of T abstraction, it can return results that are easily mapped to API HTTP status codes. Yeah, I guess not too many people find the sample on their own, so it's better for me to put this in the README. So here's the sample web. I don't remember where I put that thing. Did I put it in here? No, I didn't. Oh, I know why, because I actually put it in a different project, like I said. So in the sample, I have several projects, and GitHub is so slow. I could just do this from Visual Studio. Let's do it from Visual Studio. In Visual Studio, I have a sample somewhere. This is it, sample. Alright, services, weather service. There we go. This is faster. And that font is big, but alright. Get forecast, right there. There it is. Copy that. Hopefully GitHub doesn't crash while I'm working on this README file in GitHub. Do that, and bring this all Shift-Tabify, like that. Note that in the service below, it returns a result of a numeral of weather forecast, but in some cases it might need to return an invalid result or a not found result, or what else did I put in here? I think that was it, right? We've got not found, we've got invalid, we've got if it's 555, return that, otherwise return some other thing. So that's all good. Those are the only two things I got, or not found result, period. Otherwise it returns a success result with the actual returned value. Just like an API would return an HP200 and the actual result of the API call. There we go. Yeah, single responsibility, surly dev, exactly. That's kind of the idea for that. Alright, so commit this, and there's an extra space in there, but I guess we'll leave it. We'll go on issues, and we updated the README to show typical use cases, which some people wanted. This is done. Finally. Close with comment. Alright. Anybody here have any questions about this result thing at this point? And any pull requests I need to fix? That's from January. I don't know what the deal is with that. Shady here? No, not today. What do we do with this? I haven't looked at this in a while. So the weather service, instead of just returning a result, was going to return a page result, but he changed that to be a result. But it's already a result. I just looked at it. Isn't it? I literally just copied this code over, and page, there's no page result here, so I think this is out of date, because he was changing page result to result, and that's gone, and that's there. I don't know, let's just see if this thing, ask the question. Alright, what other pull request did we have? Somebody wanted to do an extension method on result of t. I think that was in relation to that issue. Yeah. Extension, rename. Alright, so merge that to that. Checks have failed. Update the branch because we renamed it to main because that's what it uses now. Thank you for the follow, Panic Flipper. I think this is going to be okay to merge. Let's look at the code. I already reviewed it once, I think. So, messed with the unit test project. I don't know why. We added this? Why does this show like everything is added? Result ASP.NET Core unit test. I already have a result ASP.NET Core unit test. Don't I? No, I only have Ardalis result unit test. Okay, so I didn't have an ASP.NET Core unit test project. So we added a controller. We verify that the controller, we're mocking a controller. Okay, so this is not an integration test, just a unit test. And we're going to verify if we do controller to action result, we get that. But, okay. And then we also want to check invalid, and we want to check controller to action result. Controller to action result, alright. And then result.to action result, this is new. So this is the part that was new. And that's all there. So if we validate that these tests pass, this should be okay to push in. So let's see if this is good to go yet. Blah, blah, blah. All the checks have failed. Oh, no. Result extensions already defines a member called to action result, same parameter types. Process. Alright. Alright, finds this. Weird. That sounds like it was a bad marriage or something. But I'm going to kick this back, I think, and see if they will fix it. So I don't have to. Alright. I think we're done here. Dealt with the pull requests. Dealt with the issues that I wanted to deal with today. Published a new version, so that one's good. Next on my list, let's go see. What NuGet packages do I have? We've got guard clauses. Oh wow, that's up to 2 million now. Nice. Smart Enum is pushing toward 1 million. Let's go look at Smart Enum next, I guess. Because I'm pretty sure it's got some stacked up things. Source repo for Smart Enum is here, and it's got 16 pull requests. I hate these dependabot things. While we look at pull requests, I wish I could check, and just do them all. Squash and merge. Delete. While I do this mindless work here for a moment, does anybody have any questions? Just like ask me anything. I keep checking that box, I don't need to. Update the branch. Squash. Okay, do it. Delete the branch. Anybody? Got a clean joke you want to share? I don't want to resolve conflicts. Really? Just figure it out, man. Let's just close this pull request. You'll come back and fix it later for me. Wow, that SQLite version jump is huge. 224 to 509? That's crazy. I guess that's because, you know, .NET Core 2 to .NET 5. Let's do that. Squash and merge. Delete. You guys are making me carry all the weight on this stream right now. Here I am trying to keep you entertained with one another while I'm busy with this stuff. Bump this to that. Message pack. Alright. It should be fine. Why do I want to see that? I don't see conversation. And now GitHub decides to hang. Maybe I just have too many GitHub instances open. Maybe that's my problem. If I close some of the ones over on the other page here. Like, oh, I don't want to close them though. I like these GitHub tabs. There's a few of them I can get rid of though. So I'll close a few of them. Surly Dev. Oh, nice. I was just asking if people like dad jokes. Go Joe Suave, tell us. I don't want to spoil your punchline. It's one of my kids' favorite jokes. Can you publish the Smart Enum EF Core package? Yeah, I think it's the EF one that people have been asking for, EF6 one, which I tried to create and publish a month or two ago, and it was just a pain, and I kind of got stalled. But EF Core is already out there, isn't it? Right? Like, we go here, we look for Smart Enum. Isn't there an EF Core? Or am I misremembering? Maybe not. Alright, yeah, I guess that I should probably do that. So, sure, let's work on that. As soon as we get these stupid things done. So, in our analyzer, very important. Squash. John Aldrin, you bet. In his sleeveys. That's right. Merge failed. Do it again. There we go. Alright. Pull requests. Gosh, there's so many of these. Nobody in here has an actual issue for EF Core. So let me, before I totally commit to that, John Aldrin, do I actually have an EF Core? I do. It's right there. Alright. So why hasn't this been published? Last month. Those are all the updates. But when was it created? July 8th. Alright, so this is fairly new. By Marcel and others. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's publish that. And where's the project file? Alright, let me go back to Visual Studio, and we're going to shut down this. And we'll go find file, open, project. What is this that we're looking for? GitHub, Smart Enum. So yesterday was my wedding anniversary. So since we're talking about dad jokes, one I had that I actually sent my wife was, actually I sent it to my in-laws. Let me see if I can pull it up so I don't screw it up. That I found on a quick internet search. It was... Our anniversary is today. My wife told me that she would be happy as long as I get her something with a lot of diamonds in it. She's going to love this pack of playing cards. But alright. So in here, we should have an EF Core. Where is it? It's not even in my solution. Someone added this project and didn't add it to the solution. The horror. Did someone say DDD? Yeah. Oh, thank you for the happy anniversaries. It's only been a few years. 26. Let's see. Add existing project. GitHub Smart Enum. Source. Where is it? I don't have the latest apparently. That must be the problem. And are we still on master on this one? I thought I switched everything to main. Yeah, let's go back here. I just must not have cloned it locally in a while. Master. Alright, fine. We'll stay on master for now until I get everything else merged, but then I should switch it over to main at some point. Do I have an issue for that? If core package is missing in NuGet. Yes, okay, I need to work on that. There's a lot of things here. I should probably work on this more. Main? Nope. Alright, new issue. Convert default branch to main. Because that's what everybody's doing these days. Alright, so we'll leave that there for now. Let's do one more of these just because I'm here. And then let's go get latest and pull up that thing. So, delete. Smart Enum, get synchronize. Alright, now look at that, there's an EF Core. It's amazing what happens if you get the latest code. Alright, so in here we have a version 1.0. Looks good, looks good. I should just compare that with this. Let's see. Alright, target frameworks, kind of the same. Net 461. Alright, yeah, that's fair. EF core, package ID, title, company, authors. I should add authors over here, right above company. And do we need an icon? I should probably add an icon for this. So package icon. Do I have package tags? Package tags. Alright, that's fine. Maybe I need more tags for Smart Enum. This one has a bunch. But that's fine. Release notes. This can just be initial version. 1.0. Assembly name. Root namespace. Assembly name. I don't know why these are not all in the same order. Repository URL. True. No, that's publish. Okay. Where is the repository URL? It's not there. So let's take. And do we have a summary? We have a summary. But not a description. So my description is usually the same as my summary. So let's just add that. There. You have core support for Ardalis Smart Enum. Great description. I love it. Let's put that right here. Description, summary, repository URL is the same. Right after summary. And then package tags we got. Package icon. We don't got. Package icon. Alright, to get the icon to work, you've got to do this thing. Which I think I can do down here. Alright, and what else? Version, package release notes. We don't have. Or do we? Oh, that's right here. Alright, initial version. Alright, assembly name, features strict, publish this, publish that, auto generate binding redirects. Sure, I don't know, why not? I don't remember what that does, but it sounds good. It should only matter if I make updates to these things. It should generally be helpful. So I think I'm done. Alright. Why are there bugs? So many bugs. What's going on here? This will make it hard for me to publish this thing. Package 509 is not compatible with NetCore App 2.1. Unit standard though. What does that matter? Message pack unit test. Let's look at this. Is that because I just updated it to a new package? Well, let's see. Message pack. Get history. Bump message pack there to 2375, which must have had some breaking change in it that, of course, I didn't look for. So if I drop that back to 1911, let's see what happens. Message pack 1.9.11. Is that better? That fixed it. Alright, that's good. EF Core Design 509 is not compatible with NetCore App 2.1 because you probably want you probably want Net Core App 5, right? What is the target framework for a unit test in .NET 5? Anybody know off the top of your head? Is it just Net 5? I think it's Net 5. Let's see, let's try rebuilding. Ardalis Smart Enum Core not found. Alright, Net Standard 2. Alright, so this becomes Net 5 also, right? So it's going to mess people up that need it for other versions. I would hate to publish the initial version of this and a bunch of people are waiting for it on the 2 version, and then I have to like back publish it with an older version. So let's see, who was asking for this? Can you, John Aldrin, are you still here? John Aldrin, hey, do you need version 2 or is version 5 okay? Because version 5 is easier for me if I can get it to work. Version 5 is good. Alright, good. So let's see. That got rid of some of those. Can't work with Net Standard 2.0.2.1. Right, I'm not using Net Standard 2.1. EF Core. Right, nothing in here says Net Standard 2.1 that I can see. Come on. EF Core does not exist. Yeah, right. So where is value converter? The documentation begs to differ. Package EF Core v5, Microsoft EF Core storage value conversion. Okay, so what is the problem here? You must not have the right dependency, or maybe the Net461 is throwing you. Why would you want to run EF Core 5 on Net461? That's just not going to work. That doesn't work anymore, does it? I don't think it does. Alright, that was fewer errors. Can't find the icon. Yeah, okay, I know how to fix that. So there's an icon in here, maybe somewhere, right there. And we're going to put it right here. And then exclude it from the project. And you should be happy now. Working with Net 5.0. Excellent, excellent. That's what you should be working with. Build, rebuild, until Net 6.0 comes out. File icon, come on. I just fixed that. Does not exist in the package. Alright, you're right there. That's right. And you told it to packet visible false. Alright, and I took that and I went over here and I pasted it in here, and then I messed it up when I said remove from project, but now I fixed that, so let's try again. Alright, we're down to 1. It's probably going to be like the hardest one. Alright, JSONnet blah 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 uses Newtonsoft JSON, which is a higher version than Newtonsoft JSON 12. Okay, I use version 1. No, I use version 13, which is higher than version 12. Referenced assembly. Alright. So that sounds like a manage NuGet packages for a solution problem, which should ask me to consolidate Newtonsoft JSON, which ought to be system text JSON at this point, I think. But it doesn't. It doesn't ask me to do that. So why not? JSON net. Oh, well, that's not going to use system text JSON because it's JSON net. Alright. And it wants to use 13. As well it should. And so what? Is there a JSON net unit test that's using the wrong version? That's not using it at all. So what is using... Where is it going from? Assembly with identity JSON net uses 13, yeah, which has a higher version than referenced assembly Newtonsoft JSON. Okay. I see. So JSON net Newtonsoft JSON. I don't see. Okay. I'm using Newtonsoft JSON 13. Referenced assembly Newtonsoft JSON 12. That's weird. They're the same thing. What am I screwing up here? Manage NuGet packages. What referenced assembly do I have that's referencing Newtonsoft JSON? There's Newtonsoft JSON, 1301. Okay, my assembly references, I have none. Assembly there. (1301) project benchmarks. Where's project benchmarks? Nothing in here is mentioning project benchmarks. The error mentions it. The error mentions project benchmarks? Did I miss that? Where's project benchmarks? Oh, right there. Project. Okay. Thank you. That does help. I missed that part because I'm an idiot. So where is project benchmarks? The project. Because I can't see it. And I'm blind. Benchmarks. Oh, it's way up here in its own folder. Who would do that? That was not me. Benchmarks. Project benchmarks. Thank you. That helps a lot when I'm looking at the right place. However, project benchmarks does not mention that version. So let's just do a search everywhere for this thing. So we're in Newtonsoft JSON net. I want to find all instances of that everywhere. So match that in the find all. Control Shift. Find in files. Look in everything. Current entire solution. That's what I want. Find them all. How do you share code in different services? How do you share code in different services, microservices? I'm not sure what you're asking. You could share it as a library and just deploy the library to both places. You could create a NuGet package and have both services depend on that NuGet package, which is nice because then they can each have different versions at the same time. You could put the shared code into a shared folder that is part of the solution or even part of the project for both microservices. I don't recommend that, but you can do it. Those are all options. The other one is they call each other, which you need to be careful with. But if you're trying to share behavior and not necessarily share code, you can put the behavior in one service and have the other service call it to get that behavior. That requires an out-of-process call, so it's going to be a little slower. But it does mean you don't have to copy-paste the code or distribute a NuGet package. It does mean that if the one being called is down, then all the things that have to call it are usually also down. So it does give you a runtime dependency single point of failure problem. Alright, the only place that we're referencing this thing with a package reference is right there with 1301. So what is its problem? What is benchmarks referencing? Is it benchmark.net? Maybe one of these things has a version mismatch with its version of JSON, in which case I'm screwed because I can't change that. So if I roll back to 12 on that, I'll bet everything will be fine. Because this is probably another one of those things that I just incorporated by listening to Dependabot. So let's just try that. You think that it uses 13. No, it doesn't. I just changed it. Build, rebuild. Thank you. Alright, so that fixed it. Visual Studio doesn't know what to do unless you do a rebuild, though, a lot of the time. It's really annoying. So, maybe they fixed it in a new Visual Studio 2022. Alright, we're done. We can do a commit. What did we do? I've forgotten. We were working on that package. So we did updates to smartenum.efcore package, metadata, and what else did we do? Cleaned up some package version issues. Dependabot is messing with me. Alright, do that, and do that. We're just going to push straight to master, because why not? Alright, so let's go back to GitHub. GitHub? Nope, still not the right window. GitHub, there we go. And let's not continue to merge these things because they're causing problems. I'll have to look at this a little more carefully, at least for core dependencies. I'm pretty sure I could update coverlet safely. Let's do that one because I just want to get these things out of here. Update the branch. And squash and merge. It's hard to keep up with all the issues on all the projects when Dependabot just goes nuts and throws like dozens of these at you at a time. That one's probably safe because I know I didn't break anything. But these are full version changes. I'm going to have to test those. Alright, so let's see if our current GitHub action is actually going to publish anything. So we'll go in here, we'll find our workflow. Publish all the things, but not EFCore. So I think I need to copy one of these. So let's look at this one because it's got the shortest name. Publish SmartEnum JSON net to NuGet. Yeah, I think I need this basically. I think there's a way to copy a file in the browser, but I'm going to just steal it. So publish -efcore.yaml. That's what we want. So if we go here and we say add a file, create a new file, publish -efcore.yaml. Right. Okay, I'd like to edit this file. There. Okay. smartenum.efcore master efcore JSONnet to efcore, Windows latest, blah 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 blah, SmartEnum efcore, blah blah blah. This is going to be efcore. That should be it. So create this file. Now we have a new publish to efcore thing, and if we go look at actions, none of these things are going well, but this one never ran, so we could say, hey, run this thing. Wasn't there something else I wanted to do that would trigger this while I'm at it? That's all fine. That looks fine. That all looks fine. Must have been in here. It's now net 5 only. We can probably get rid of net standard 2.0. That shouldn't be there anymore. good. I found something to change. So with something to change, I now can save this and create a commit. Remove net standard tag and commit and push. And that should, oh fine, pull then push. And that should trigger a deployment. So wait for it. There it goes. I think these are pretty fast. Setup.net. It's on Windows though, a Windows build agent, so it shouldn't take long to set up.net because I think it comes with it. Alright, publish on version change. Go to NuGet. Error, file does not exist. Nupkeg. That's not good. I must have gotten the full file name wrong. Where's the error? File does not exist. Star.nupkeg. Alright. Build failed. Reference assemblies. Net framework version v50 not found. Install the developer pack for this framework version. Alright. It's okay, so let's go back to Visual Studio locally. Let's see if we can actually publish this thing locally, or if it's going to give us some problem here. I want to publish to a folder. Publish folder is fine. Usually this just works. So publish. That worked. Alright, so my version of .NET 5 works, which is that, 6 something. Isn't there an SDK version switch on .NET or something like that? I gotta figure out why the build agent can't build this thing. I can't publish it. Let's see. Oh, that's gonna be why right there. Alright, because this is the first time I'm doing anything on that version. Alright, so let's go back to result, because I think I might have updated it to use .NET 5. Yep, so I'm going to steal this bit, set up .NET Core like that, and we'll come back here, and we'll go here, and there, and there, and there, and we're going to set up .NET Core, uses, that's basically what I'm changing. I think these are all the same. Uses actions that with that with that. So I just want it to be 50201. Get rid of all that. Start a commit. Commit the change. And find the actions. Let's see if this publishes. The other thing I should add is how to do a manual running of a workflow in GitHub. Which I thought I blogged about recently. Maybe I just meant to. But there's a GitHub page for it here that basically tells you how to do it. And you just have to add workflow dispatch to your YAML file, right? See events that trigger workflows. Workflow dispatch. So on workflow dispatch, think that's all I need. So if I go back to here, it's not running. Go here, here, and here, and the EF core. And we can modify this and say on all these things, but also on workflow dispatch. Which I think I can put like that. Maybe? I did this on some other ones. Let's see. GitHub workflow dispatch sample. Nope, nope, nope. Nope. Alright. So here's one using multiple events. So on a push, or a pull request, or a page build, or a release, do all these things. What about workflow dispatch? That one. Configure these, so you say on workflow dispatch with all these things, but what if I wanted to also have those other things? Alright, so we could say workflow dispatch or repository dispatch, but I don't think I need that. I just need... Can I say on multiple times? Am I allowed to say on this or on that? Because that would be handy. On push to do, that's the one I already looked at. Questions and answers. I need to blog about this because I know I did it before and I got it to work. On workflow dispatch, on something else, on something else, on something else. Huh. Alright, so the question was, can I have that and this? And the answer is no, you cannot do that. Duplicate key. Alright. Well, fine. I'm going to have to figure out why this isn't working some other time. Leave this thing alone. And instead, I'm just going to go do a push. So we'll come back over here and get out of that. Go here. Find some other thing to change. Like... I don't know. Here, I have another semicolon. And this will be force NuGet, or no, force GitHub action, commit, push. I think there was a way that I could also have just retried the one that was already there, but I didn't think of that until just now. The first time I did it, there wasn't one there, so I couldn't retry it, and I wanted to force it then. And I still had that on my mind. But here we are with EF core, because like this one would have let me... No, it doesn't have a retry. And see, I don't remember which one of my projects I put that dispatch thing on, because I have too many of them. But I would put it on all of them if I wanted to be able to just trigger it anytime I wanted to by manually doing it. Alright, so this should be faster. Ah, Ardalis extensions, I did it. Alright, cool. So my most recent one. Thank you, thank you. Acero95. Alright, so this looks like it's going to work, but... Bam. What is the syntax that I couldn't figure out? Was it unpublish? It was just that. Alright, I thought I tried that. I didn't like it. Okay, well, let's try it now. So steal that. It still doesn't like this. Now what's the problem? Nothing's ever easy. Pushing Ardalis. Oh, you know what? I don't have a key for this. Yeah, there you go. No API key. That's why. Alright, I know how to fix that. Which one to do first? I guess we'll do the key first. So we'll come down here, go over here, API keys, create a new key. Key name is. Oh wait, I already have a specification one. Specification star. Oh, but that one's expired anyway. Well, shoot. No, that's good. I can use that. Regenerate. Okay. And copy. And then go over here. And we're just going to go to settings and secrets. And there's a NuGet API key that we're going to update. And these are write only. So I'll bring it down here. We'll paste in my new key. We'll update the secret. And that's that. And build.yaml, you also added branches : main. Alright, that's good to know. So let's bring this back up here. Well, I do need to kick it off again now, don't I? So we may as well make the thing work with the workflow. So I'll go here, here, EF core, and compare that with this. Like that, split screen. Okay, so on the right we have publish Ardalis extensions. On the left we have Smart Enum EF core, workflow dispatch : blah blah blah, branches, paths. Alright, this looks the same, so I don't know how I got this wrong last time, but let's see if it allows it this time. Maybe it's just new and the linter didn't like it. Maybe that was all it was. Maybe if I ignore the linter. No, the linter's fine now. Alright, I don't know what I did wrong last time. But now it seems to work. So with workflow dispatch there, what that gives you is you can come over here and make this full screen again and go into the EF core one, and it should give you this option right here that wasn't there before. It says, hey, you can run this workflow. I'll say, yeah, yes, I would like to run this workflow. And now you don't have to do a stupid commit to trigger the build. In build.yaml, you also added branches main, he says. Alright. Thanks for the follow, Zav. Thanks for the follow, Storm TV. Emma says, I answered that. Alright. Sithalo7 said, yes, but communication was through RabbitMQ. Okay, so you were asking a question that Stream Elements tried to answer. Okay, so in your front desk app in DDD, how or where can we integrate synchronous communication to other apps? And my bot said, hey, you mentioned DDD, check this out. It's probably my old course anyway, it's probably not even the latest update. But anyway, communication was through RabbitMQ in a situation where the other service outside your app accepts HTTP and you need to use the response in your domain. How would you call it? Well, you could just create an HTTP client and call it. It should be a domain service interface, or not even necessarily a domain service, but there should be an interface for the thing you need, so that you can call. This thing failed again. There is a key there, though. Oh, you know what? I bet the key doesn't allow creation of the package. That's probably the problem. Alright. I'll come back to the NuGet thing in a second. Let me finish my thought with Sithalo7. Create an interface for the service that you need to get the data from this other thing, your other bounded context or whatever. Your domain doesn't necessarily care whether you're doing it or whether you're getting it from some external resource. All it cares is that there is an interface that can be used that represents some service that has the capability to give you this behavior, this resource that you need. So once you have the interface, then you can implement the interface anywhere. And so if interface is something that's going to be accomplished by calling your other bounded context, your other microservice, whatever it might be, then in your infrastructure project, you're going to go and add an implementation of that service, and you're going to create an HTTP call in that implementation to go out to the other service, grab, make the HTTP API call to it, get the result, and then return the result back. If there's any mapping you need to do along the way, you would do that inside the service. So ideally, the service is going to return back domain things, right? Value objects or entities or other stuff that are in the domains language, not whatever the other service is using. So there's you're acting as sort of an anti-corruption layer there by translating from whatever the external services, API, and models and representation is to your application and your bounded context model. All right, back to fixing this. I might need to just add it the first time manually. So if we go here and we say upload a package, and we go browse for a package, and we go find GitHub, Smart Enum. I probably need to publish it again because I don't think it has the latest things I changed. Let's do this. Let's go to Visual Studio, Smart Enum, EF Core, assembly version. What is version? 0.9, just for fun. I don't even need to commit it. I just need to publish it. So over here, EF Core, we're going to publish this one. I don't want to pack it. I want to publish it. Stop it. Publish to a folder. Do it. Cool. All right, now EF Core bin release. All right, so here's the thing I'm looking for. There's my 0.9. We're going to open that. The reason I'm doing 0.9 is because it won't work if it has the same version number when I do it from GitHub Action. So I want the GitHub Action one to work, so I'm making this one a lower version, and then the GitHub Action one will push the higher version. And they'll be the same, but it's fine. So this all looks fine. We'll preview it. I don't want to preview that. Let's submit it. Okay, so now there's a Smart Enum EF Core 09. I don't have to actually keep this change, so I can roll this back. And that should bring me back to 1.0, which it does. Great. Alright, so now in here, I should be able to go back to this action, and I can retry or rerun. Let's just rerun this job. Alright. Found online. There we go. Alright. This is validating, so you guys will see this if you looked for it in a minute. But in the meantime, this thing should publish the version 1.0 version of it, which should also be listed in a moment. Alright, we're going to take a break from open source NuGet software package junk for anyone that wants to, and do a quick coding game Clash of Code. And if nobody wants to, then maybe I'll just do a public one and you guys can watch me fail. But if you have not used Coding Game, it's a fun little website that you can do challenges on. It still failed. Alright. I'll keep trying to make that work, and we'll see if we have time for this, because I thought it would work this time. So if you don't have an account here, go get an account, and then go find Ardalis, and just follow me, and I'll try and follow you back. But we're going to do a private clash, and we'll try and be the fastest to solve a puzzle. And if you want, you can watch me do it. Like, if you don't want to play at all, you can watch me do it. But if you are playing, you could still watch me do it and cheat. Or you just, focus on it and do it yourself and see who gets finished first. I'm not going to click Let's Start because it'll only give me a limited amount of time at that point before it starts. But when I do, I'll take the link and I'll share it in the chat. So you'll be able to grab the link from the chat, since right now we're not, probably most of us, connected on here. But while I continue troubleshooting this other thing, you could go and get set up. All right, so do that. Okay, so over here, we are publishing on version change, and that should work, but it's not. And the reason why is status code is not success. The API key is invalid, has expired, or does not have permission. All right, well, let's talk about that, shall we? We're going to go over here. We're going to look at my API keys. We're going to go look at Ardalis specification, and it is a glob pattern of Ardalis.specification star. And my package that I'm trying to do something with has a glob pattern of, I guess we'll look in Visual Studio, in Smart Enum. Does it not say Ardalis? Ardalis. Oh wait, shoot. That's the problem, isn't it? I did that one. Alright. This is not a specification. No, this is a Smart Enum. It's this other expired one. So, okay, I just pasted that key into the wrong place. That's not good. Alright, well, we'll fix that later. Let's go down to Smart Enum star. That's what I want. Regenerate this key. Okay. And then that key is now here at the top, which I can copy. And then we can go over here. And we'll do the settings and the secrets and the update and hide this from you. Paste it in there and update the secret. And bring it back up here. And go back to actions and find the EF core action and run the workflow one more time. Alright. This time it's going to work because it might actually have the correct key. And I definitely need to fix the specification one. So let me do that while I'm thinking of it. Ardalis. No, what? You didn't autocorrect Ardalis, Google? Come on. Ardalis specification. Right there. Security. No. Settings. Secrets. NuGet key. Update. And bring that down here. Go back to here. Go find specification. I have to regenerate it again. Just okay, because nothing's using that one. Copy it and paste it. Alright, that's good. That's sorted out. Alright, so I shouldn't need this anymore. I should be able to search for Smart Enum and find EF Core. There's EF Core. And look, it published 1.0. So, yay. Green light. Alright, so someone had said, hey, you should do this. And so now I can go here and I can go take this, copy it, and go find that issue where somebody was asking for this thing. Convert, that's me. Open EF Core, that one. Say, this is now available. Bam. Bam. Alright, so who's up for Clash of Code? Anybody? I need at least one of you to volunteer so that there's someone to play against. It's really easy, and it's like 5 minutes. They're super small problems. It'll be something like, given this integer, determine if this integer is a palindrome. And that's it. Like, that's the whole thing. You can use whatever programming language you want. Close that. Anybody in the chat? Raise your hand. We got 15 minutes left before I usually quit. Should be more than enough time to do one of these. Shady's here. I'll invite Shady. We'll see if he joins. Alright, we're going to try this. So I'm going to copy this and paste it in here. And you have less than 4 minutes, if you want to join, to click on that link and join in. How do I not have Shady on here as someone? We were just doing it earlier on DevBetter. Come on, at least one of you. I need a victim. I mean, opponent. Surly Devil play. It looks like you're working. It's got an IDE and everything. Your boss will never know. Come on, John Aldrin. I published your package for you. Let's go. I'll see if anybody on DevBetter wants to join. Alright, so I told them I will give them 60 seconds to join. And so we'll see if we get anybody else from there. A095 will be the victim. Awesome. You can pick whatever programming language you want. So it might be like if you're awesome at JavaScript or Rust or something, like it might be way better than C#. Or if you want to totally crush me, I'll do like JavaScript or something I don't use all the time, and that'll be horrible. Alright, so when it gets down to 2-minute mark, I'll start. So in the meantime, if anybody else wants to join, feel free. They're fun, but if you just want to watch one first, we can do one real quick and then perhaps have time to do another one. Basically, when you're done, you just submit your answer, and it's got some tests that you can run to verify whether it's right. So you want to run those tests first, unless you're really sure it's going to work, in which case, skip that to save time. And then submit it. And when you submit, it'll show in order who submitted theirs the fastest. And if they're all at 100% success as far as the tests go, then it'll you'll all be ranked basically just on time. But if you have 100% and somebody else is really fast, but they have like 50% of the test passed, they'll be lower. All right, doesn't look like anybody else is joining, so let's just try this out and go from there. So ready? Shady snuck in there at the last minute. And then there's a share code button if you want everyone to be able to see your implementation. We can kind of compare each person's answer. Perfect. We'll give Shady another 30 seconds or so. We need the Jeopardy music. Da, na, 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 na. Oh, there he goes. Alright, cool. Share your code. Perfect. That little ding means everybody's done. So my answer was I have to print it this many times, and this is what I need to print. So I just made a for loop that goes from 0 to n, I less than n, and then it gave me a console write line, so I just use that to print. Acero basically said give me a for loop to n, print w, so same thing I did, it looks like, pretty much. And then Shady less than n, print w, it looks like about the same thing. So we all got to the same answer, with just varying times. So, and I'm more familiar with this than some of you probably are, so that's totally cool. So let's try it again. That was our practice round. We'll do another fastest one. Here it is. We'll copy this into the chat. There. And there. And then we'll see Acero. If you mouse over someone, you can follow them. So I will follow you, and then if you follow me as well, you'll show up in this invite list if you wish. Which I think the little ding means that you followed me. Perfect. So next time you would show up in this invite list. And we'll give it another 22 seconds and see if somebody else joins. We've got about 5 or 6 minutes till I'm going to be done with the stream, and I'll probably try and raid some other channel, most likely the Visual Studio channel, because they're usually going on here in a minute, starting at the top of the hour. So thanks for hanging out with me this Friday afternoon, and nobody else seems to want to join, so let's try this again. Here we go. Visual Studio is actually hosting me at the moment. Snowfrog jumped in late. I didn't know that was allowed. So I'm guessing his timer started when he came in and not when we all started. I don't know. We'll see what his time is. Normally, if everybody starts at the same time, if you're the first one done, you know if you won or not. But if somebody starts later, I wonder if they can beat you even though they showed up later. So in a minute, I'm probably going to raid one of these other dev folks, unless Visual Studio comes on and goes live. Lena always has like a gazillion people compared to me. Most of these are game developers, which really isn't my thing. I don't know what Tutor Exilius is doing. More gaming, alright. So, we may not raid anybody if I can't find someone that's doing cool development stuff. And I don't know if Visual Studio is going to stream today. Alright, we got another one done. Let's see what the code looks like. Yeah, I hate the off by one errors of comma separated or space separated lists, and you haven't like follow your loop and then put an if statement in your loop to say like, am I almost at the end of the loop? Okay, or am I at the end of the loop? Because if I'm at the end of the loop, I don't want to add the thing, but otherwise I do. It's always really annoying. Another trick I've seen with this is that people will put the space on it before every time, except for the first time. So like another variant of this is you like manually calculate the first case and do it just as a statement, right before your loop, and then do your loop. And then for your loop, every single one of the ones in your loop should always have a separator and then a value, because your initial one that you started with is already before the loop. But yeah, there's different techniques for that, and I'll show you the one I used in a second. But we still have 2 players. Alright, now I gotta see what Snowfrog's duration is. Was it shorter than Shady's, even because he started later? No. Alright, so I think he got penalized by showing up late. So he ended up at 6 minutes. But he's doing TypeScript, and I think the program probably gave him this. Here's your number. And then he did the rest. So he creates an array, goes just like I did. He starts his loop at 1 and uses less equal instead of the more typical 0 less than approach. Penalized for TypeScript. No, penalized because he showed up late. Because we started, yeah. Alright, so then he just pushes the result into, he pushes n times I into his array, and then he joins them. So that's essentially what I did. Alright, and Acer is saying don't wait for him, it might take some time. So that's no worries at all. Thank you for participating. So in here is what I did, and it's basically the same thing as what Snowfrog did, but in C#. So I just created a list instead of an array, because it's not as easy to push things onto an array in C# as it is in JavaScript or TypeScript. Did my loop. I realized that I needed my result to start from the number 1. So to make things easy, I just started my loop at 1 and did less equal 10. I could have done less than 11, but I don't think that reads as well. And I add these things to a list. And the reason why I'm adding them to a list instead of just creating a string here is because then I can do a string.join. And string.join is fairly clear, in my opinion, and it's really easy. And it's just a single method call. It doesn't have another if statement or anything that might be having off by one error or some other issue. So this is like the way I like to solve this type of problem. But like I said, there's other techniques you can do. You can do like Shady did is a pretty common one, where you check to see am I almost at the end. If I'm basically when it's equal to 9, that's his last time through the loop. And so every other time when it's not 9, we want to append a space to your result. But on the last one, you don't. And honestly, we don't even know if the thing notices. And another solution to this that you could have done if you wanted is get rid of this if check, and you could just say console.write result.trim right here. I don't think I can edit this. Yeah, it's read only. But if you say .trim, it would strip off any white space off the end anyway, and you wouldn't have to worry about it. And it would have probably been faster than trying to write this if statement. So you can sometimes cheat with that type of thing too. Now that doesn't work if it's comma separated. If it's comma separated, you're out. You've got to keep that thing from getting there. But if it really is just white space, you can just trim it. Or you could do a .trim with a comma, and it would trim the comma out, and that would also work. All right. So lots of ways to skin a cat. One of the things that's nice about these coding clashes is that you can kind of see different approaches to the problem. You can see what different languages look like to accomplish the same thing. And so I always, find interesting ways to approach the problem when I do this with folks. You can do it publicly too. There's like an ongoing public one. I don't like that as well, and the reason is that there's several different types. There's fastest, there's shortest, and there's look at the input and output and try and come up with it. I haven't tried that one. But a lot of the times when I do the public one, you get these shortest ones, and it's basically something they refer to as code golf, where you're trying to accomplish the problem but in the fewest number of characters of source code. And so it ends up being an exercise in how can I solve the problem, and then how can I rename all my variables to be single characters and get rid of all the white space and crunch it all down into one line of code that no one could ever possibly read, but maybe you are shorter than someone else. And certain programming languages are way less verbose than others. So like Python, for instance, tends to not be as verbose as C#. And so depending on your programming language, you just may not really have a chance of winning those, especially if there's a whole lot of people playing in public. So, and you can't pick. You can't say, hey, I want to do a public one, but only if it's a fastest puzzle, unfortunately. So if you want to make sure you're doing a fastest one, you kind of have to do it yourself. Okay, so Visual Studio is still not online. And I don't see anyone else that I'm really keen to go and raid. So I am just going to close it down for the weekend and say thanks everybody for joining me this afternoon. Hope to see you next week. Have a nice weekend. Good day.